It is tough out there. A lot of people are having a hard time right now. Expenses seem to be going crazy, right? Inflation has been running rampant for years. And now people are realizing that they have to invest to get ahead. Of course, some people knew that before, but it's really hard right now, which is why I want to talk about why $50 into something like Bitcoin can be life-changing. It can change your world, and eventually it can grow to become more influential than your day job. It can pay you more than your day job can. Now, of course, stay through to the end of the video because there's some caveats. You have to understand what I'm saying there, right? So stay through to the end of the video if you want to trade cryptocurrency. This is not right for everyone, but if you want to trade and try to lever up, try to get access to more capital, there is a link to Margex underneath the video. You don't have to KYC, meaning you don't have to give out your personal information, so people won't know how much Bitcoin you have, for example, and you can get it set up in just a few seconds instead of taking pictures of your ID and all that kind of stuff. You can get set up in just a few seconds. Just put in an email, a password, check their terms and conditions, and then you have to deposit cryptocurrency onto this platform. So check this link out underneath the video. Now, I've been watching JJ Buckner. Big shout out to him. I've been watching some of his videos, and people have it rough out there. I understand this. I'm in the real world, right? I see people every day that are talking about these things, and I know family members, and some people are just having a really tough go of it. Let's just watch this real quick, and then I'll get into the numbers here and how $50 of Bitcoin can change your life. But let's start here.
How are y'all making it? No, literally, how are y'all making it? Because... little backstory, I decided back in January that I was going to monetize on this app. Every dollar I made, no matter how big, how small, was going to go to a savings account, and that was going to be money for a down payment on our house. Because if you don't know, me, my husband, and our 2 kids are living with my parents. Spoiler alert, that's not happening. We're having to take that money I'm making and use it to get by until the next week, on top of my husband's income. My husband's making the most money he's ever made, and this is the brokest we've ever been. Make it make sense. I'm not a bougie bitch. I might get my lashes done, but my friends do my hair. I don't get my nails done. I'm really not that high maintenance. We try to live within our means. We truly do. It's like no matter how much you don't go out to eat, no matter how much you don't spend money, you're still gonna be broke. Why? Because that is the world that we live in. So I know I'm not as educated as I should be when it comes to voting. All I know is that shit was a lot better 4 years ago. I could afford to breathe, and I had my own house. Right now, nobody can afford housing. Nobody can afford food. And if you can, congratulations, because you're far and few. So please, for the love of God, take that into consideration. Come down.
Okay, so I've been seeing a lot of people posting videos like this, right? Talking or showing TikTok videos, whether it's financial advice or just how tough it is for people out there. And I totally get it because I used to be extremely frugal. Like I used to have mental battles over paying money, even if it was just $5 or $10 for flowers on Valentine's Day, because they're gonna die. Like what's the ROI there? I used to have a hard time. I would actually at restaurants, I would find the highest ABV divided by the price, right? Like if things were the same size, I'd actually do the mental math, the ounces times the ABV to figure out the actual alcohol content divided by the price to see what the best deal was. I didn't care what it tasted like. I did care, but it wasn't worth it to me to figure that out. I would just try to figure that out. So I get where people are coming from. It is tough out there. Things are getting more expensive. And I want to be clear, like, this is not a perfect fix. You can't buy $50 worth of Bitcoin and then still spend thousands of dollars on credit cards that you can't pay off. Like, you should not be investing in Bitcoin if you have all those things happening. Like, make sure you get your bases covered. Don't go into high credit card debt. Don't have stupid interest on really expensive cars. Like, start cutting back. Do all those things. I'm not saying that Bitcoin is the magic ticket that's going to get you out of all your stupid decisions. We won't spend too long on this part, but a lot of the time people aren't budgeting. They have no idea what they're bringing in. They have no idea what they're spending. They're off. They think they're spending $3,000 a month. They're spending $6,000. They're making $4,000. It's going on credit cards. They're getting stupid personal loans, stupid cars. They feel like they're entitled for different things. And of course, that would be nice, but some people just don't make enough money, right? And I'm not saying that everyone can fix it. I think anyone can fix it, but not everyone can, if that makes sense. Right now, everyone's going to be able to make $100,000 a year. But if you're there, if you're watching this video, you probably can because you're actually paying attention to this kind of thing. Now from there, a lot of people that do get money and start making more money start spending it in stupid ways, or they don't know where to put it, right? They put it into depreciating assets, which is why today we're talking about, because this is a crypto-related channel. We talk about crypto and specifically Bitcoin a lot on this channel. We're talking about how $50 of Bitcoin can change your life. Now, to be clear, you're not going to put it in and be able to retire on that $50. That's not how it works, right? Bitcoin is a asset that has performed very well in the past, but this is not 2010. It's not going from $1 to $60,000. So you're not going to be able to buy 50 Bitcoin and then be worth, $3 million. That's not how it works anymore. Real world, you're putting in, you're maybe making 30, 40, 50% a year for the next couple of years, and then maybe it'll go down to 30, then 20%, then 15%, something like that. So $50 will not help you retire tomorrow, to be clear. It won't help you retire, or it won't make you retire in 10 years. But it is a very important step. So $50, just a one-time purchase of $50, it will give you almost the amount that the average person on Earth can have. Now, where do I get those numbers? Well, there are only ever 21 million Bitcoin, but a lot of them have been lost, and a lot of people don't want to sell their Bitcoin. So let's say there are 20 million Bitcoin in circulation, which is about right. Maybe there's 4 million Bitcoin that have been lost, right? Transferred to the wrong wallets. People died with their seed phrases, stuff like that. So there's 16 million Bitcoin. A lot of people don't want to actually sell. There's only 2 million Bitcoin on exchanges. Some people would probably put their Bitcoin on exchanges to sell. Let's say there are 8 million Bitcoin that people will actually sell after all the corporations that just say that they want to swallow it up forever, and the ETFs and that kind of stuff. So there's that amount of Bitcoin left. So 8 million Bitcoin, 8 billion people on Earth. That means 0.001 Bitcoin per person, which means about $60. So a one-time purchase of $50 gets you almost to that level. Also, this is the hardest $50 to buy. You've done all the research. You feel comfortable buying Bitcoin. So it's much easier to buy in the future. You've done research. You understand the process of buying Bitcoin. Also, you're buying an asset. You're not wasting money on food or toys or gambling or drinking or nails or, sweet treats, Starbucks, right? You're actually buying an asset that will or should appreciate in value. Of course, there's always risk, so make sure you understand Bitcoin before you just take this advice, right? But what if you could do $50, not a one-time purchase, but you could do it once a week, right? Once a week, you put in $50. Okay, that'd be $2,600 a year. Now, some people can't do that. A lot of people can, though. And what would that look like? Well, let's say $2,600 a year. You could put that into maybe a Roth IRA, if you're in the US, or some tax advantage account. You could buy maybe a Bitcoin ETF, or you could find a way to buy straight Bitcoin, but that way it would be basically tax-free after you put you pay for it upfront, the upfront taxes. This could actually grow to be millions of dollars if you did this once a week for, let's say, the next 25 years. So obviously a lot of it comes down to how much you think Bitcoin's going to appreciate, but right now, it's appreciating by about 50% a year. So let's say it goes down to 20%, right? It goes from 50 to 45 to 40 to 35 to 30 to 25 to 20. The debasement of currency, the money printing, is somewhere around 10, maybe 15% a year, right? Not the CPI, but the actual debasement of currency, the money printing. So let's say Bitcoin outperforms, right? It outperforms by 5 to 10%. It takes some out of the global market share, but keep in mind, everything's going to appreciate significantly over the next 25 years. Everything's going to get more expensive. So it continues at a 20% interest rate for 25 years. You put in $50 a week. You have nearly $2 million. Now, $2 million then is not the same as $2 million now, but that would be a nice chunk of money for how much you're actually investing. Keep in mind, at that point, you would have invested $2,600 a year for 25 years, which would be, let's just do the math here real quick. That'd be about $65,000, and you'd have $2 million. So a fantastic return. Of course, you can massage the numbers to make it look better or worse there, but I think that isn't the craziest scenario out there. So once a week could make a huge difference in your life. Now, is that enough to retire $2 million in 25 years? Who knows? Who knows if there's going to be Social Security or anything like that? You should definitely have investments outside of this, though, too. Like, I would preach diversification. It's going to be very hard to buy Bitcoin for the next 25 years every single week with going through that kind of volatility if that's your only asset. you're probably going to see your net worth go from 500,000 down to 100,000 or 150,000, then back up, and you're going to have to avoid a lot of blow up. So I would say, okay, do $50 a month or $50 a week, and then try to invest in your 401k up to the match. Buy a home, get some rental real estate, maybe something like that. Like, build up other assets. This should not be your only asset, but $2,600 a year can be the riskier part of your portfolio. And it can grow to be quite large if Bitcoin does what a lot of people think. Of course, that is the main question, right? Now, what if you could buy not $50 a week, but $50 a day? That would equate to about $18,000 a year. Now, that would actually buy you, in the first year at today's price, that would buy you more than the average millionaire can ever buy, based on how much is lost and how many millionaires there are in the world. That would buy you more than what the average millionaire could buy. Obviously, you'd need a good income to buy this, most likely, but this would change your numbers drastically. So right now, with $50 a week, that would get you about $2 million. If we did $18,000 a year, or $50 a day, that'd be $11.6 million. You could be in the 8-digit club. Even with inflation, let's say inflation is 3% a year, you'd be looking at $6.5 million. So you would have a substantial nest egg. Of course, you have to balance it, right? You have to balance this high risk investment with other diversification. But $50 a day can make a huge difference, obviously. That is a lot of money, though, to be investing, and that's a long time to be investing. Now, I think at the end of the day, everyone wants the $50 to be put into something that can make them a millionaire, multimillionaires, whether it's lottos, right? The classic meme, the classic degenerate invest in something like lottos or scratch offs or something. Or they invest in meme coins now, maybe if they're younger, or something that can maybe go and turn $50 into $1 million that way, right? So everyone wants that, but because they're investing their money in those kinds of risky things, they lose out on the ability to buy assets that grow slowly over time that could actually produce a nice income. Like, let's say you get that $2 million in Bitcoin, right? From $50 a week. Okay. If you do the 4% rule, that's maybe $80,000 a year. You put $2,600 into it each year. So again, maybe you can do that on a $50,000, $60,000 a year salary. You can cut out some stuff, make $26,000 worth or $2,600 worth of deposits, and then buy yourself an $80,000 a year income. Again, I realize that's a pretty nice scenario there, but still, that is just crazy. That can surpass your full-time job if you play the long game, if you buy assets instead of liabilities, instead of alcohol. You go cut your cell phone plan and go to Helium Mobile. There's a link to that underneath the video. They're $20 a month. So you do stuff like that. You cut out drinks, right? Right here, I have a bubbly water. This is 20 cents. As opposed to $2 for a beer. Cut out 2 beers a day, $4 a day. That's $30 a week. You're halfway there. So like, if you start making those cuts, you can supplement or you can invest way more into these assets. And I'm quite bullish on Bitcoin, but you could use other assets for this as well. You could be buying cash flowing rental properties. Obviously a higher cost there, but they can do quite well over time too. You could buy the S&P 500. You could buy tech stocks. There are different investments, but the general premise is the same. $50 will not make you rich, but it starts you on the journey to getting rich. And of course, you have to work on your income. You have to work on cutting expenses, all that, and being frugal to try to get ahead. Let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. Do you think this is something that's relatable? Do you think most people could invest $50 a week? Let me know down below in the comment section. Also, let me know what you're drinking tonight. Right now, I'm drinking a raspberry bubbly. Pretty good. Let me know down below in the comment section. Again, if you want to trade cryptocurrency, if you understand what leverage is, there's that link to Margex underneath the video. They actually are coming out with something pretty big next week. It's going to be interesting. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you so much. I'll see you all in the next one.